best financial advice I ever got was from my father, who said simply, be prudent. I was thinking of buying a very lavish estate on the eastern shore of the Chesapeake Bay, which I would have only used a few nights a year, and my father said, be prudent, and that was good advice. And he also gave me very similar advice, which was, I said, well, I could buy this house and not be anywhere near the neighborhood of poverty. And he said, good, because that's a neighborhood you never want to be in.
The best money advice I ever got was from my grandfather, which was, you can't make money if you owe money. So he was a strict anti-debt guy, and I followed it. The first I could pay down or pay off all my debt in my mid-20s, I did, and never looked back.
Great advice. Hard to do, though.
So when I graduated and I got my first job, one of my professors said that my salary is going to increase dramatically from a student stipend to a faculty position, and that I need to think carefully about the speed in which I want to increase the quality of my life. The temptation is that when you get a salary increase, you want to start buying lots of things that you've been craving, but we know that happiness can go up quickly, and then we get used to it. So the question was, how do you space it out over a long time? So I think it's really about how to think about money as a tool to buying happiness, and what are our intuitions about the relationship with money and happiness? What are the cases where it's right and what's the cases where it's wrong?
The best piece of money advice I've ever been given is to look at every single one of my expenditures and to not think about it in today's dollars, but for future dollars. So for example, if I'm buying something that costs $300, what's the opportunity cost of not having that $300 in my retirement account? Maybe it's $20,000 over many, many decades. And it really helps focus my spending because of it. I want to live big when I'm older, and I'm willing to sacrifice a lot of the sort of mundane things today that I would have spent on otherwise.
The best money advice that I ever got was to not be afraid to spend it, which I know is weird because most of the time people say, you need to save, but sometimes to make money you have to spend it, and whether that's paying for college, buying a house, buying a good stock, investing in a business. So I would say not to be afraid to spend it.
The best money advice I got was ironically the worst money advice I got, and that was this constant refrain we hear of stop spending money on lattes. And I heard it over and over and over from everyone in the media, and I thought, this must be true. And so I tried to cut back on all these little things, buying a small Coke instead of a large Coke, cutting back on morning coffee. I really tried, and it never worked for me. I started feeling guilty. I would yo-yo back and forth. And that's when I realized just because everyone says a certain type of advice doesn't mean they've actually tested it. And ironically, that bad advice led me to learn about the psychology of money and the psychology of human behavior. And so that terrible, terrible advice actually brought me to learn what I know now about money.
I was working in a small Philadelphia brokerage firm in the summer of 1949, and I was a runner, delivering securities that they did in those ancient days from one firm to another, and there were probably 50 firms in Philadelphia then. So I palled around with the other runners. They were good guys. They knew a lot about the business. And one day, one of them, having finally kind of thought they could trust this young college student, said, Bogle, I want to give you the best stock market advice that you've ever had in your life. And I said, what's that, Ray? And he said, nobody knows nothing. And of course, that's by definition true. We're betting against one another. One of us, the bettors, is going to be right. Mm-hmm. One of the bettors is going to be wrong. And the future's not ours to see. Mm-hmm. At least the short-term future, what the market's going to do today, tomorrow, the next year. And nobody has a clue. So that was basically, if you want to call that, I never thought about it this way before, but a quasi-inspiration for the index fund. It seems like it might be now.